Hello, my name is Jiso, and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō, and we have reached chapter 61, Kenbutsu, Meeting Buddha. Ken means look at, meet, or realize the state of, and Butsu means Buddha or Buddhas. Therefore, Kenbutsu means meeting Buddha or meeting Buddhas. In order to meet Buddhas, it is necessary first to become Buddha, because Buddhas can be seen only by Buddhas. In this chapter, Master Dōgen explained the real situation of meeting Buddhas and the true meaning of meeting Buddhas. Shakyamuni Buddha addresses a great assembly. If we see both the many forms and their non-form, we at once meet the Tathagata. Quoted from the Diamond Sutra. To see the many forms and to see their non-form, as described now, is a liberated bodily experience. And so it is to meet the Tathagata. Realization in which this eye of meeting the Buddha is already open in experience is called meeting Buddha. Footnote, literally seeing Buddha means realization of the whole reality of the state of action, which is called Buddha. It does not describe seeing the Buddha's form. Ken has been translated as see, meet, real manifestation, view, and realization, depending on the context. The vigorous way called the eye of meeting the Buddha is eyes partaking in Buddha. When we see in others our own Buddha, and when we see our own Buddha outside of Buddhas, although all things are a tangle, to have learned meeting Buddha in practice, to be pursuing and realizing meeting Buddha, to be getting free of meeting Buddha, to be attaining the vivid state of meeting Buddha, and to be utilizing meeting Buddha are the real manifestation of sun-faced Buddhas and the real manifestation of moon-faced Buddhas. Footnote, when we see our own Buddha outside of Buddhas, an example might be leaving a Buddhist temple and receiving very helpful service from a layperson doing his or her daily job. And moon-faced Buddhas and sun-faced Buddhas, when Master Baso Doitso was unwell as a monk asked him how he was, the master replied, sun-faced Buddhas, moon-faced Buddhas. Story is quoted in Eihei Koroku. Okay. Moon-faced Buddhas. Meeting Buddha like this, in each case, is meeting Buddha whose faces are limitless, whose body is limitless, whose mind is limitless, and whose hands and eyes are limitless. The effort in pursuit of the truth and mastery of experience of the Buddha's state, which we are performing to the tips of the toes in the present, and which we have continued since establishing the mind and taking the first step, are all vivid eyes and vivid bones and marrow running inside meeting Buddha. This being so, the whole world of the self and all worlds in other directions, this individual and that individual, are equally the effort of meeting a Buddha. When people without eyes of learning and practice take up the Tathagata's words, if we see the many forms and non-form, they think to see the many forms as non-form is just to see the Tathagata. In other words, they think the words describe seeing the many forms not as forms but as the Tathagata. Truly, a faction of small thinkers will inevitably study the words like that, but the reality of the words which the Buddha intended is not like that. Remember, to see the many forms and to see their non-form is to meet the Tathagata at once. There is the Tathagata and there is the non-Tathagata. In other words, footnote, even the Buddha has both form and non-form. Zen Master Dōgen of Seiryu Seiryo,
セリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、セイリヨ、
Shall I start again? Zen Master Dai Hogen of Seiryo Temple. I can't say that. Seiryo. Shall I start again? Seiryo Ryo in Temple. I'm just going to carry on. Says, he said it somewhere. If we see the many forms as non-form, we are not then meeting the Tathagata. In both the Buddha's words and Master Hogen's words, the characters of the first clause are exactly the same, but in the first case they read, I shouldn't have read that footnote. Moving on. The expression of Dai Hogen now is an expression in the state of meeting Buddha. In it, there is the expression of Hogen, and there is the expression of meeting Buddha. Conversing, they come head-to-head in competition, and they extend hands in cooperation. We should listen to Hogen's expression with the ears, and we should listen to the expression of meeting Buddha with the eyes. At the same time, students in the past who have learned this principle in practice have thought as follows. The many forms are the form of the Tathagata, and there is no instance of them having mingled with a form that is not the form of the Tathagata. We should never see the concrete form as non-form. To see it as non-form is leaving the Father and running away. They have asserted that because this concrete form is just the form of the Tathagata, we say that the many forms should be the many forms. This is truly a supreme discourse of the great vehicle and the experience of the masters of many districts. Decisively determining it to be so, we should believe it and experience it. Do not be fluff, following the wind to the east and to the west. The many forms are the form of the Tathagata, not non-form. Investigating this and meeting Buddha, deciding this and experiencing conviction, we should receive it and retain it, and we should recite it and become thoroughly versed in it. In doing so, we should make it seen and heard ceaselessly through our own ears and eyes. We should get free of it through our own body, mind, bones and marrow, and we should make it clear through our own mountains, rivers and universe. Such is the action of learning the state of Buddhist patriarchs. Do not think that, because it is your own speech and conduct, it cannot make your own eyes clear. Being transformed by our own words of transformation, or a turning word, it says in the footnote, we get free of the view of our own transformation into a Buddhist patriarch. This is the everyday state of Buddhist patriarchs. Therefore, there is only one way to comprehend the state in experience, namely, the many forms are already beyond non-form, and non-form is just the many forms. Because non-form is the many forms, non-form is truly non-form. We should learn in practice that the form called non-form and the form called the many forms are both the form of the Tathagata. Footnote, the mental face of reality and the concrete face of reality are both faces of reality. In the house of learning and practice, there are two kinds of texts. Sutras that are seen and sutras that are not seen. This is what eyes in the vivid state learn in practice. If we have never experienced the ultimate state of putting on the eyes and looking at the texts, our eyes are not eyes that experience the ultimate. If the eyes are not eyes that experience the ultimate, the state is not meeting the Buddha. In meeting Buddha, there are the many forms which are seen and non-form which is seen. The state is, I do not understand the Buddha Dharma. It's a quote from a monk asks, Master Daikan Ino, what people attained Obai's teaching? The master says, ironically, people who understood the Buddha Dharma intellectually attained it. The monk says, did you yourself attain it, master? The master says, I did not attain it. The monk says, why did the master not attain it? The master says, I do not understand the Buddha Dharma. Shinji Shōbōgenzō, Part 1, number 59. In not meeting Buddha, there are the many forms which are not seen and non-form which is not seen, which state people who understand the Buddha Dharma have attained. Hogan's expression, which is 80 or 90% of realization, is like this. At the same time, in regard to this one great cause, we should say further, if we see the many forms as real form, we at once meet the Tathagata. An expression like this is totally by virtue of Shakyamuni Buddha's influence. It is the skin, flesh, bones and marrow of no figure other than his. Just one more footnote before we go. The one great cause means the quotation from the Diamond Sutra. At the same time, it alludes to the passage in Lotus Sutra, Hoben, which says that the Buddhas appear in the world only on account of one great cause or one great purpose, to cause living beings to disclose, to be shown, to realize, and to enter the Buddha's state of wisdom. Thanks for listening. Take care.